Good morning, and welcome to Motivational Moments with Marissa. It's your life, own it. Taking center stage and own it with me this morning is international speaker and life coach Nathaniel X. Ross and Coach Tiffany of Phoenix Fitness Magazine. She is the editor in chief. They are both in the house. We are all partners of the Own It Magazine and Publishing Company, and I am so excited to have all of you here with me today. We're focusing this month on women's. We are celebrating our women all month long. And so we're going to be focused on women this morning and motivating you in your money and in your body. So, Nathaniel, say hello and to our guests and introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here back from last week, so it's like we see each other each
Like
week.
it's like clockwork. hmm
Yeah.
hmm
So hopefully we'll have some information that pass on to be beneficial to everyone.
Amen, amen, amen. And I want to really focus this morning on women and their finances and give them some tips and some insight in regards to how they can manage and be more alert and in tune with how their money is being spent. Tiffany, say hello.
Hello, and good morning. Thank you so much, Marissa, for having me today. Coach Tiffany Parr, I am editor in chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, also TV talent for Mupo Entertainment, and and visionary author of the Becoming Your Girl Powerhouse anthologies. So thank you so much. Just here to really motivate y'all to look. I'm already ready to go. Okay, it's 7 o'clock in California, so I'm about to hit the gym as soon as we get done here. But here to just motivate you to get up and get active.
Yes, yes, move that body, move that body. So we're going to talk about some very important, two of the most important things that women have to deal with is their money and their body and taking care of their body. And so I want to talk with you, start with you, Nathaniel. We could all chime in on our own experience, etc. And because I used to always handle our budget, and coming up. I used to always know where everything is. And now that, working for myself and, just trying to know where everything is going is can be challenging. But it's important for us to know that. Nathaniel, why is it important for us to know where all this money is going?
Well, primarily because we are a society that use money as a tool. And money is the tool that goes through every strand of our life. So we're focusing on, physical fitness. It costs money. Health costs money. So you need to be able to prioritize your money and use it as the tool that it's meant to be that will enable you to be able to accomplish the things based on the priorities within your life. And we all have the same priorities. We just do them and we just prioritize them differently, right? So, Coach Tiffany might get up and her it's important to her, so she's going to be at the gym at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. Exercise might be further down the list for me, right? So I may get it in once, twice a week if I'm lucky, right? But it's all comes down to what your priority is. Um, but when you step back away from it, and I'll talk about myself personally, I had to go from once or twice a week to 4 to 5 times a week because I had to understand in prioritizing that health is my second priority in life because I need my health in order to do everything else. I need my health in order to support my family. I need my health in order to do my job. I need my health in order to be active in the community, to learn, etc. So everybody just has to figure out for themselves when they're ready to prioritize to put things in the right order. But money goes through them all.
Yeah, yeah. It costs to do everything, right? It costs money
Absolutely.
to do everything. The key
Right.
is being, understanding that everything costs money, but then figuring out ways that you can be more cost effective,
Right.
especially if that has to be a priority. Now, if you got all the money in the world and you don't have to think about it, that's great. But there are ways that you can get the workout in, like for me.
Absolutely.
I'm just walking up and down the street and letting the sun do the work. Let the sun make me sweat, blah, blah, blah. And I've done that too. Even with being in the States, I would walk. I'm not big on running. I do like the treadmill, but even if I'm on the treadmill, I still go fast.
Mhm.
I've never been big on running, so to speak.
Yeah.
But that doesn't cost you anything to walk up
Right.
and down the street. You still get your workout in, and then you can use the stairs. There's so many ways that you can, but you have to become creative, so that you can make sure that when you want to buy that, what is that mat you guys were talking about backstage?
Oh, the PEMF mat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, when you want to buy that mat, now you can because you saved in this one area and you've allotted it to a more expensive item. You've allotted it in that direction. So it's got to be a little give and take.
Well,
Um,
there's lots of opportunity for that. I mean, as you go through, whether you can, and Tiffany, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you can exercise and put on muscle, and you can exercise and lose weight without spending for a gym membership.
yes, you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you can absolutely do that. But from a budgeting standpoint, it's it's I got X number of dollars that I can use for my health. Where do I best use those dollars?
Right.
So
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
big part of that is eating.
Yeah.
That you got to eat right. People that go spend $10 getting a value meal or two sandwiches from $10 or $6 at McDonald's
Right.
or Burger
Right.
King because it's cheap and it's
Mhm.
filling, right? A lot of bread. But if you can get down to that vegetables and fruit, and start eating lively stuff instead of dead stuff,
Right.
but that costs money, right? So it's a matter of balancing it out and figuring out, okay, here's my health plan because you got to put a plan in place,
Right.
and where do I allocate the dollars in order to accomplish the plan. And in some areas, you're going to spend more, in others, and some you won't spend any money at all because you can be
Right.
creative in figuring that piece out.
And you can be very creative in saving in the way that you eat as well. I mean, I will go to the local farmers market and you will save so much money going to your local farmers market, and then you feel good being able to support. We have I'm in Ontario, California. Okay, we used to be all dairies around here. We still have a lot of local growers, so being able to say, hey, I support that local grower and support their livelihood just means everything to me. And I know that I'm eating right. I'm saving money. If I go and I buy a batch of organic tomatoes from the farmers market, it may cost me maybe $3, but if I go to the grocery store, it might cost me 6.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I don't tend to go to the grocery stores very often, but if I do, I'm also a couponer. And I learned that a long time ago. At first I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be that person. But when you really start looking at the deals that are going on in your stores, you can make a huge difference in your finances. I mean, and still be able to eat right. And I want to really touch on what you were saying about, working out. You don't have to have a gym membership. You can walk and you can even just put it in your daily life. When you go to the grocery store, instead of parking so close, because we're always, oh, we got to park right in front. No, park way in the back and get your steps in.
Make yourself do it.
If you're in a building that has multiple, floors, instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs, get those steps in that way. I mean, those are very simple ways to get it in. Core work at home, being able to just, planks are magical. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. And if you can, I had my girls, I do an online training, and my fitness training, I mean, I make it very easy because I'm in my living room, you're in your living room, and we're doing the doggone thing. And I've had my girls doing 3-minute planks, and I've watched their bodies go from that 30-minute plank or 30-second plank to that 3 minutes. I'm watching their body on my screen change in the months as we go. And this costs, I mean, really, doing a plank at home, they don't have to pay me to do that. They can do that at home and it costs nothing.
Yeah.
But I'd rather them pay me. I mean, I'm very reasonable, but
But
and I'm going to teach you how to do it right. But there's so many things that you can do, that don't cost anything at all to be able to keep yourself healthy and well.
Yeah, let me follow up on that because I think there's a distinction that people need to make there. It's okay to do things that are free, but it's not okay to do the wrong things for free.
That part.
So you need a coach to make sure that you're doing it the correct way. So you may not have to go to that coach every day or every other day, but
Right.
you need to make sure that you're being instructed the right way to do it so that when you're doing it on your own, you're not damaging your body.
That's right.
right.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
a lot of people think, oh, and it's not just with, coach with exercising, it's across the board. People are like,
Right.
oh, I don't need an expert. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you
Because if
do.
you don't, you're going to do a lot of damage to yourself, or you're going to mess up somewhere along the way there.
Right.
And I don't know if you've ever gone to the gym, you see, and this is more so for guys than for women. Guys in the gym are pumping iron and they're lifting all of this weight and they're doing it incorrectly.
Incorrectly.
But that's what they've been taught. We're gonna go in there, we're gonna be macho, and we're gonna lift a whole lot of weight. And yeah, but your form is horrible,
Right.
and the damage that you're doing to your body, it's just people just need to use their heads a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are certain things that you do need to get from get the expertise and insight.
Yeah.
And once you have that, and one of the things in doing my research, because I love doing research, one of the things I loved in doing one of the things I discovered in doing the research was that you have to be open minded when it comes to, really elevating with your finances, getting your financial house in order, because you need to learn. And that was one of the
Mhm.
things that it said. It says always be willing to learn, because just like you said, Nathaniel, you do need an expert.
Mhm.
Sometimes you do have to check in. You get a little knowledge, you apply that, and then you come back. And once you've mastered that, and you come to something else that you're not aware of, just open up your mouth and ask the questions. That's why
Right.
it's so important to have a network of advisors,
Yeah.
people that you have your go-to people to really advise you. One of the things that they were suggesting here too is build your confidence in investing. What are your thoughts about that, Nathaniel?
Well, investing is there's three components to that money piece that people get nervous about, and that's debt, budgeting, and investments. If you're living in debt, stop. All debt is doing is that you're spending future money now you-
Mm.
on stuff that you're not going to remember down the road while you're still paying for it. And in terms of your budget, is everybody's just spending everything they get. In fact, the more money they make, the promotions they get, they spend. They feel like they got to spend it right away. Stop. And investing is what is the probability that I will be here 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now? And if there's a high probability, then you need to be investing so that you're not one of those people. And it breaks my heart every time I go to the store or go somewhere and I see someone 70, 80 years old working, not because they choose to, but because they have to.
Mhm.
So investment is extremely important so that you can kick back because we're young. Well, some of us are younger now, and we can get our bodies to do what we want them to do. But as you get older, that diminishes,
Yeah.
and eventually, then what are you going to do? You can't work as hard. So now you have to have that money that's been working for you and investing take care of
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's so important for us to really, really understand budgeting, just like you said, debt. Also, we need to understand the credit system, how
Yes.
that credit system actually works. So it's not working against us, but it's working for us. So you just gave us some insight on investing. Want to give us some insight on credit?
You know what? Credit is your reputation. Most people don't get that. People walking around, I'm Dr. So and so, or I'm the president and CEO of such and such. Those are titles that are reputation. Well, when it comes to your finances, your credit score is your reputation. And like I said, money goes through everything. And when somebody looks at that credit score and that credit history, that determines whether they're going to do business with you or not. And in a lot of cases, they're not going to do business with you. Or if they're willing to do business with you, they're going to make you pay a higher interest rate in everything that you do based on what that score number is. So, that your credit is your lifeline. So you really need to get that in order.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would be a recommended credit score? What would you consider to be a good credit score?
Um,
30.
well, I see that's kind of tricky because it depends on where you are,
Yeah.
right? So I've worked with someone that had like a 4 something credit score, and to get them from that to a 600 was good for them. Is that going to get them what they need out there in the real world? No, but a 600 is a lot better than a 400, right? So it depends on where you are, and what you do is you just take it in increments. If you're in the 400s, work to get to the 5. Then you work from the 5s to the 6, and the 6 to the 7, and 7 to the 8. But in terms of making your dollars work for you the best, you need a 750 or higher score in order to get those lower interest rates.
Now, so we talk about 750, but what's the highest score?
I think it's 850 right now.
Yeah.
It's going to change, but right now it's 850. There's a new system that's going to be coming in place.
Mm. And so also too, because my juices are flowing. My juices are like really, really flowing. Nathaniel, you have your nonprofit organization, and you work with people in this area, in the area of finance, etc. Um, what kind of offer do you have out there, or partnership, or anything to help individuals who really need help in this area? Because you know, there's a lot of folks out here living from paycheck to paycheck who really don't understand that money is not a goal, it is a tool, it is a resource, and how to change and shift that mindset and the concept of money. What kind of programs or partnerships or offerings do you have for
Well,
those individuals who are looking to, who really want to, who really want to understand what it feels like to have that 850 score?
yeah, I don't have the specific dates right now, but we're gonna do for the Own It publishing platform. We're gonna do a credit card session, and we'll open that up. So Marissa, we can talk about a date, and then we can start advertising that date, and anyone through the platform can come into that class. And that we'll do that class free of charge. Our nonprofit will pay for it for folks, because we want to remove the excuse of I can't afford to do it, when it really is I can't afford not to do it.
Right.
But we're going to remove that excuse, and we'll do a credit class. And we're going to also do a financial boot camp, and we'll lock those dates in, and then we'll start advertising those dates, which is a 3-month program where we meet once a week for 2 hours through video conference for 3 months. And when people finish that boot camp, they know I will be out of debt. I will be out of debt on this day, this year, whatever the year is. I live within the 50-30-20 rule. They will know that they're living within their means as opposed to overspending, and they'll have a investment strategy in place that's going to help them towards retirement and building wealth.
Nice.
But those dates will be determined, so we can work on those, Marissa, and start releasing that.
Okay, that sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah.
Because listen, I'm a strategist. How do we go from this to this? That's me. I did not realize. I was talking last night on the live when we did with the authors for the anthology, and I shared with them how sometimes you need to get therapy, right? So we kind of we look down at that. And I thank God, I was with a family that we didn't talk about racial stuff. Like we weren't intense about racial stuff. Thank God, because we weren't intense about you can't go to therapy. We didn't do all of that in my family, and I'm just so thankful for that, because when it came time for me to have to do stuff that wouldn't be acceptable in another family or acceptable in another group, um, I didn't have that in my head. I didn't have to battle that thing. And so one of the things was therapy. And I didn't realize that I'm actually a list person. I'm very, very goal oriented and goal driven. It's like I look at something and say, okay, this is what I want to accomplish, and I focus on that, and I focus on it to the point of completion. And so that's so important for us to be able to structure our life, because the only way that you can know about what you've earned, what you've given, what you saved and what you spent is trackability, measurability. If you're not able to really put this stuff in order and structure it, like, so you guys see me looking down, and I say this all the time, I'm taking notes. So when you see shows like this, you need to be taking notes so that you can remember what was said. Don't just watch the show. Remember what it said so you can go back and apply it in your real life. It's one thing to sit here and to listen, but the way that I have always learned, and learning is transferable, is by taking notes, because then you take it and you own it for yourself. So you want to make sure that you take the notes. So that's so important. And with your programs, it seems like you're able to come out with a financial plan, and exit of debt. I hate debt. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. I know some debt is good or whatever. I just can't. I don't call me asking me for jack because we gonna have a problem, right? And that is the reason why the only thing, like I always say, the only thing I have is my student loans. Other than that, I do not want you coming for me. Do not call me. Don't. I don't like those kind of things. Now, I haven't always been the best at paying those little payments. Where my biggest error is I always pay it off. I just chunk and pay it off. I've been bad in monthly or whatever. I just want to get rid of you and dart out. And that's why I said it's so important for us to understand how the credit system works. It's not necessarily because you're not paying your credit or whatever. It's understanding how that point system works. That's the system, that's the formula, and that's what we need to be aware of, is what's their formula, so that when we're getting these credit cards, it's not necessarily that everybody's not paying. It's not that, but we got to understand how paying and the system actually works. So you know when to pay off, when to pay. So you understand it. Education,
Well,
ignorance is not bliss. Go ahead.
it's a game, right?
Yeah, that's what
And
I'm saying.
it's literally a game. And if you understand that it's a game and that it's a process, you got to learn the rules of the game. So if you
Yeah,
want to play baseball, you learn what the rules are. You
yeah,
want to play football, you learn what the rules are. You just got to learn what the rules are, and then you can play. Most people just get out and go, "I'm gonna play at this credit thing," and they lose because they have no idea what they're doing. If you
yeah.
learn the rules, and the rules aren't hard, people would thrive at this stuff. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science.
It's not. But what I believe the issue is, and we always go to this, is that we're not having that kind of conversation. We're
Right.
having more of the red bottom shoe conversation. We're having more of the Air Jordan conversations. We're having those conversations.
Yeah.
If our conversations change, then our outcomes will change. And what we really need to know is we need to know the rules of the game and how to score.
Yep.
Right. That's
Yeah,
right.
to know the rules of the game and how to score. So I want to tap
There's a
you
good
in.
book out there that I'd recommend for anybody that's listening. The Millionaire Next Door. And it's not a difficult read. But if you read that book, there's two. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad,
That's a
and
good
then
one.
the Millionaire Next Door. Because the Millionaire Next Door, well, Robert Kiyosaki's book talk about mindset,
Mm-hmm.
a poverty mind versus a wealthy mind. And then the Millionaire Next Door talks about how millionaires literally live their lives and spend their money. And it is totally different from what you see on television and in the movies. And if you can read those two books and comprehend and understand what those messages are, you can open up your mind and start doing something differently.
Yeah, because your priorities have changed.
Absolutely.
Your
Absolutely.
priorities have changed.
Yeah.
Uh, good morning, Chauncey, and thank you for chiming in. It's so important if we want to break generational curses. We have to start thinking in it. We have to do things differently and intentionally differently,
Hmm.
not just not just talk about it. Be about what we talk about. That's a pet peeve of mine. If you're going to talk about it, then
Right.
do it. Don't talk about it so long and you're sitting and we looking back and next year you're doing the same things. Really huge pet peeve of mine. I want to tap back into the physical health because not only do we need to be financially healthy, but we need to be around long enough to enjoy it. And we need to start taking that seriously. Just like Nathaniel was saying earlier in regards to the junk that you're putting in your body. I don't
Yeah.
even know what it's like to go to I don't even know what it's like to go to Burger King or McDonald's or not even where
Mhm.
you're going to a restaurant and it's kind of like a chain, chain restaurant. I don't care if it's a high end chain restaurant or not. Chain restaurants. I don't even know when the last time I've gone, so I wouldn't even know how to order from the menu. That's my point. My point is I don't even know what's out there anymore. That's how far disconnected I've become from that environment and that world. Um,
Mhm.
it's a big difference in your body when you're eating clean and healthy.
It is.
You can feel, like literally feel the difference. And you said you were in my head earlier because you said farmers market, and while Nathaniel was talking, I was just like, yeah, the farmers market. Go to that supermarket when you can go to the
Right.
farmers market.
Yeah.
That was big for me too, because they are a lot less expensive.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, everyone doesn't have access to them at so
Right.
easily. And then also too, we're not aware. A lot of communities, believe it or not, are not aware that there are farmers markets out there, and there's a different way of spending your money and utilizing your money. And I like what you said in regards to taking care of the growers because we don't think like that. We don't
Right.
think we don't think communal. We think self
Mhm.
me minds and how we have to live. And it's not being selfish, it's surviving.
Right.
You're thinking about surviving. But what we want to do today is kind of open your mind up to say, well,
Right.
don't just hear. I like how Lulu says, color outside of the box. Like
Right.
go out there and explore. If you see a farmer's market or you see fresh something for sale, especially with you guys in the U.S. on the side on the East Coast side, as the weather begins to change
Yeah.
and the farmers come out and there are more produce that are available street side. Make it a conscious effort to find them.
Yeah.
I know where I live, where I lived in New Jersey, um, there are spots that you go, especially with me at Princeton University. We had plenty of areas where you can go to the market. In fact, Princeton University used to host a certain time of the year farmers markets where they would come in and set up for us to buy right on campus. Um,
And so many communities do that. They'll have weekend farmers markets. You just have to look out there and just kind of see. But, about the whole communal thing, that's with everything, even with working out. When I started working out, I had to find a buddy to work out with. And that was for the accountability aspect of it. And then we created a community of people that we were the 4:30 Club. We went to the gym every single morning at 4:30 in the morning when Fitness 19 opened up. And if that person was not there to open up the door, we were like, open, okay? Because we all were there ready to go. There was probably about 10 of us in the gym. And if one wasn't there, it was like, well, where's Jane, or where's Tom, or where, and because you're trying to figure out, like you become family. And then you're really worried about each other, and you're really just holding each other accountable, and you're helping each other out. If you don't have a coach, but there's somebody that's in the gym that's been working out longer than you, maybe they've had trainers, they know what they're doing, they know the form, they can be that person to help you to get to the other side, to help you. I would stop constantly when I would see people in the gym. Hey, can I help you real quick? Because I didn't want to see them hurt, and I would show them how to do it real quick, and then they would do it. Oh, I feel that so much more.
Oh,
yeah. Well, now that you're doing it correctly, you're going to, but yeah, it's all about the community, and, just supporting that community, because as we support those growers, it's, as you see the way that our society is going, it's like they're starting to diminish. We want to continue to support those local growers because we need them. We need them because, especially the organic growers as well. There's so much chemicals and things in our food. It's in our soil, and speaking of that, with all this stuff in our environment, we were talking about the PEMF mat, right, Nate? The PEMF mat helps to, prevent all those things from, hindering your body and hurting your body and things like that. It helps to regenerate your body. So there's a lot of things out there that you can research and find, that can really help you, to.
And it goes right back to mindset, because whether you're talking about the physical workout of the body or whether you're talking about what you're eating, it's all a game. Right. And you got to learn the rules. So, and I don't think most people realize this, but next time you go to the grocery store, walk through the grocery store, and you will see that 90% of what in the grocery store is all garbage.
Yep.
If you walk around the perimeter of the store, you will see that that's where all your healthy stuff is. Yes. And all those other aisles is garbage. But that's part of the game. And if you haven't figured that out, you're losing. And I go there all the time and I see people got these carts filled with stuff and they're getting it from those aisles. So you just got to open up the mind and learn the game.
So
if I ask Coach Tiffany her numbers, I'm sure she knows it. Right? She knows what her oxygen intake is. She knows what her blood pressure is. She knows the numbers that go with health.
Yeah. Yeah. I know where my sugar is. You have to know your numbers, because if you don't know your numbers, what's going to happen is your body is going to, just like me back in 2008, going into the doctors, just on a routine check and being told, hey, you know what? You're on the wrong track. You could die in a couple of years if you don't make some changes.
Right.
And that's horrible. My blood sugar was in high 300s, almost 400, and blood pressure waking up in the morning sometimes would be 155 over 100. That's a heart attack, stroke, ready to happen, and people don't realize that. I didn't even know that my blood pressure was that high until I was told you need to make sure that you take your blood pressure every single day for a week. And when I did that, I could feel my body, and I could feel the anxiousness, and just feel, the difference between that high blood pressure. I could feel the headache. I had, my eyes were red, in the corners, and that all signs of high blood pressure, me not even knowing, because I'm not taking the time to be conscious and aware of my body, to pay attention, and that's what you have to do too. You got to wake up and pay attention to your body. Your body tells you every day if it likes what you're doing or if it doesn't like what you're doing. You just got to pay attention. If you eat something and the next day your tummy's upset, that means that you shouldn't have put that in your body.
Yeah.
And if you go back and look at it, it probably is something that's probably, either from one of those aisles in the inside, or it's probably from, a restaurant or something. It's not fresh and clean, food. So
yeah. Your health is your wealth, and your wealth can support you being healthy.
right.
And
Yeah.
so we have to get these things right. Specifically, women, we're talking to you, but guys, you can kind of glean too. But we're really saying that it's so important, these two areas of our lives, that we make sure that we're paying attention to it. And health doesn't always just mean your physical fitness. It also means your mental health, making sure that you're taking care of and loving on you. I go and get a spa treatment at the drop of a I gotta go to the spa. And there's so many. So to be cost effective. So one thing I had to learn to was, when I was doing interior decorating, I was doing a lot of the physical work. So not only was I, doing the shopping and buying the decorations, I was also staging them, putting them up. I was also hanging large paintings, tapestries, using a little giant ladder, and I was taking it, folding it, making it an A-frame, leaning against the wall, doing all that physically by myself. I really enjoyed doing it by myself, and I was doing it at a time where uh, you hired a decorating company to come in and decorate. You didn't have someone that was a consultant, independent contractor themselves doing it. I was decorating and transforming homes when Design on a Dime was out, Trading Spaces was
Wow.
out. That's how long ago I was decorating. And so you didn't have all of that. I was the new trailblazer. And so doing it. And I was doing it before they became as popular as they became. And it's just like where I am today. I wasn't expecting to do interior decorating. I had started off just doing centerpieces for weddings, bouquets, boutonnieres for weddings, and someone invited me into their home to do a centerpiece. And that's when I looked around and say, what you were describing to me is not what I'm seeing here. So let me do what really goes with your house. And that's when I started going into houses and decorating. But it's a lot of physical work when you're hanging and you're using the ladder, you're using the what is that thing, the balancer with the liquid in it, so to make sure that you
Level.
level the
Oh,
level.
mhm.
And so it was a lot. So it wasn't a luxury for me to go to the spa afterwards. It was an absolute necessity. I
Yeah.
needed all of my body to be worked over,
Hmm.
and get rid of that stress. And the same thing works for us. Women, we have a tendency to think that things are luxury. They're not always luxury. And some things that can take place mentally, emotionally, that happens in the spa is not going to happen with the physical therapist. It's not.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
happening there.
Yeah.
And so you have to go and you got to smell that lavender,
Yep.
chamomile. That all has to go into your system so that it relaxes you. And you
Right.
do need that
Yeah.
glass. You do need that glass of wine. You just need to get the right wine. And
Right.
I like
So
semi-sweet. I like a dry wine too.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
all about being open to, don't drink all the sugar.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
you got to be open to, and you control your taste buds. You
Hmm.
can tell yourself, no, this is better for me. You govern your body. Your body does not govern you. You make
Right.
the conscious
Right.
decision that says, hey, if I'm going to have a glass of wine or anything like that, don't do the sugar. They got skinny wine, right?
They
Skinny.
do. Look, I like the skinny one. And it's all about the portion as well. Remember that a glass of wine is not the full glass of wine.
No,
It's
it's
only
not.
5 ounces. It's only 5 ounces, people. Okay. Because
Mhm.
people are, you go, you get that glass of wine, and you
They're
say,
just
hey,
pouring
let me go ahead and let me just pour that glass of wine. No, no.
and they
Because now
don't know
you
how to
just had
regulate.
2 servings or maybe 3 servings, right? So now you've just had, double or triple that sugar intake as well. So you
Yes.
kind of got to
Let
watch
me
that.
say this for women that are listening, and this is from a male's perspective. Um, from my perspective, women take the bulk of the heat in terms, or the weight in terms of life, right?
Mhm.
Um, you take care of yourself, you take care of the kids,
Right.
you take care of your husband, you take care of the household, you're involved in all the community stuff, all the educational stuff, and usually the husband just goes to work and come home and to hang out with his buddies, right? And he calls taking care of his kids babysitting, which is asinine to me. But women have a lot on their plates. And my advice to women is, uh, uh, understand where you are,
Mhm.
appreciate where you are. If you have a job that has benefits, those benefits normally include, what do they call them? Employee assistance program, where
Yeah,
you can get
the
so
EAP.
many counseling
Mhm.
sessions
Mhm.
per year.
Yep.
You don't have to have an identified problem to go to those counseling
Sure
sessions.
don't. You
Go
sure
to
don't.
those counseling sessions because it gives you somebody that you can talk to, that's going to give you a professional feedback,
Absolutely.
and that conversation is going to stay confidential and not be passed on to other girlfriends or to
Right.
other
Hello.
friends.
Yes.
Um, do the emotional stuff, because it's emotional, it's psychological, it's
Right.
physical. Take care of the whole you. And even from a
Mhm.
spiritual perspective, you got to do the soul care piece.
That's right.
You know, everyone gets caught up in these little titles and these sayings that are out there. Don't get caught up in that and limiting yourself. You got to take
Mhm.
care of the whole you.
Hmm.
That's right.
And you got to figure out how to release some of that burden that you have taken on, and distribute some of that back to your male counterparts. But
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
just my 2 cents to women out there.
And not only your
Yeah.
male
Yeah.
counterparts, also your females. Like,
Yeah.
so
Well,
you have
yeah,
your friends, when you have your friend circle,
Yeah.
yeah,
because I say, as the CEO of your life, there's multiple boardrooms that you have. You have your social boardroom, you have your
Mhm.
spiritual boardroom, you have your
Mhm.
professional boardroom, and you also have your financial boardroom. But when you comes to your social boardroom, you know, there are some things that we allow, for our, friends to say to us.
Yeah.
Um, their opinions about how we live, what we're doing, why we doing this, what we shouldn't do, and how they feel about what we're doing. And I've observed it. I have a tendency to be a kind of a loner for that very reason, because
Mhm.
you have to know yourself. And my tolerance level for some of that is just like, I'm not the one. Let You are free to be you, and I'm free to be me. I'm not going to
Mhm.
be telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing, and I definitely don't want you telling me what I should or shouldn't be doing, because we'll
Right.
cut right through that, because we're adults, and you have the right to be who you want to be without having to worry about fighting against your friends and family to be
Mhm.
that. It's
Mhm.
enough for you to be, you got enough fighting with the world who does not know you. You should not
Right.
be fighting with the people that are in your inner court, that should be loving you and supporting you and allowing you to be true to yourself, to be your
Mhm.
authentic self.
Mhm.
But you have the control over that. If
Right.
they know that they can get away with it, they're going to do it. And some
Mhm.
of them know they're doing it to you.
Right.
And don't let anybody's misery spill on you.
Mhm.
You gotta
Mhm.
push that mess back, because you have the right to not only thrive, you have the right to flourish. You have the right to
That's right.
spread your wings and You see, I got all of this room right here.
I have a trick. I have a
You,
trick
you
question.
got to be able to have
For you,
fun.
Tiffany.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a trick question for you. What is the weakest word?
Mm.
Ooh. What is the weakest word?
Yeah. I'm
Tell
only
me.
tying it to Tiffany because we're talking physical. The word
Honestly, you know what? To me, the weakest word though in my vocabulary, I'm going to say is can't. I'm sorry. It's just that's my weakest word. It's can't.
yeah.
Because you can do anything you want. Don't even put the word can't in your vocabulary. And that to me is the weakest word in my book in the vocabulary. So
That's a good answer. But the word I was searching for is no. People
that
have
one
to
too. And you
learn
know what?
people have to learn how to say no.
No,
Yes.
no, yeah,
Yes, you're right. And it
It
is a
gets
full
people
it's
in
a
trouble.
sentence.
Yeah.
It's a sentence. Just no and don't have to have
yeah.
No
any
explanation
explanation
behind
behind
it.
it. Not at
No,
all.
you
Not at
shouldn't.
all.
You shouldn't. Stop explaining yourself to people.
Yeah,
Right.
so
That's where
work that
Right.
muscle out. No.
Yes. No. No.
just say no, and do it with no without feeling guilty,
Yes.
because
Yes.
you don't have to feel guilty. The explaining comes from the guilt,
Yeah.
Right.
and also explaining comes from a place of I need to justify this to you, and
And you have to justify any of it.
that's still your dependency on what they think and
Right.
how they feel, and you have to come to a place where that's why we need to spend more time by ourselves.
Yes.
You
Yes.
need to spend more time by yourself. Make a vision board by yourself. How
Yes.
about that? How about you take a nice little glass of wine, get you a clear board, and you start by yourself.
Yep.
Let's see
Yep.
what your vision board looks like then. What will your vision board look like when you do it? Your little glass of wine, and you just sitting there, got your good music on, and you got your magazine. Clip out because that's when your true vision will come
That's
out.
right.
When you
That's
ain't got to worry about Tom, Dick, or Harry, Sally, Sue, or Jane looking at what you're doing. Because a
yeah.
lot of times we don't show up is because we're worried about who's looking at me. And is my makeup right? Is my hair right? And all this other stuff. Get by yourself. Get by yourself and look at your finances.
Mm-hmm.
Get by yourself, and I'm getting back to my notes because I really want to make sure that this is a learning experience. Mindset. Money is a tool, not a goal. Know where your money is going, where
Mm-hmm.
you're earning, giving, saving, and spending, right? And you want to be always, this is what it recommended, never stop being open minded, dive deeper. And it says, get connected. Get connected to your true reality, because that's when it becomes sobering for you
Yeah.
to make the quality decisions about where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. Any closing thoughts, Nathaniel? And then Coach Tara, and we're out.
Well, I think people need to figure out who they are.
Mm,
I did a speaking engagement about a week and a half ago with some young leaders, emerging leaders. And that when we get introduced, well, at least for me, I got all these titles and credentials, and they went through all of that, and I said, "Well, who am I?" And they started repeating the stuff that they heard in the introduction.
hmm
No, those are things that I do. That is not who I am.
yeah.
People need to learn who they are. And if you happen to be older in life and you don't know who you are, now's the time to discover who you are. And then from there, you can manage the rest. But if you don't know who you are,
Nope.
you're at the base of the mountain, and you're probably not going to go too far.
No.
So
No.
discover who you are. Get
Just
with a life coach. Get with somebody that can mentor you, that can help you to discover who you are as a person.
Yeah, you want to know who you are, because then knowing who you are helps you to know what you're made of, what makes
Yeah.
you tick and what ticks you off. That's what owning it is all about. It's not being afraid to recognize, acknowledge what your shortcomings are, owning your failures, because your failures make you successful if you learn from them, right?
Hmm.
Power just went off. So you saw me go dark. It's just the power going off. It's something usual here. And so that's why it's so important, because when you know who you are, trials, tribulations, they're going to come, but you already know what you're made of. So you
Right.
already know, it's just a matter of sitting back and find out what's the new strategy, what's the new plan, and how you're going to put it in action. But make sure you're intentional about putting the right people around you. And they're not going to look like you. They're not going to be the ones that have been around you. They're going to
Mm-mm.
be the ones speaking your language and going in the direction you are. Coach Tiffany. Yeah.
Like I just gotta really tap into that as well. The knowing who you are, but also having that unconditional love for who you are, just
Hmm.
because when you have that unconditional love, you're going to take care of yourself. You're going to work out. You're going to eat right. You're going to do all the things that you need to do because you have that unconditional love. It's not a question of what you need to do for yourself. And it is very clear to you. And also, mindset is key. Mindset is everything. If you are not on that right mindset, you're not going to have that oomph to get yourself up
Yep.
and going. I put little notes all around my house to remind myself of how amazing I am and how much
Yes.
the work that I'm doing, how important it is. And that just tapped into my subconscious. So if you
Yep.
need to just give yourself a reminder of how amazing you are and how much love you really should be giving to yourself. Just give yourself the reminder. And if you need a coach to help you to tap into that unconditional love, go ahead and reach out to Coach T right here, because I'll help you to tap into you. Most
Awesome,
definitely.
awesome, awesome. And Nathaniel is going to give us he's going to give us an announcement of the two programs that he has coming up, the credit, understanding credit, and then also the financial boot camp. So stay tuned. We'll be back here next Monday. We'll be back here every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love to motivate you. This is all about your self-awareness, hoping that you will tap so deep into yourself that you want to self develop, right? And then you want to do what we've been talking about, self mastery. You want to know yourself. You want to know what makes you tick and what ticks you off, and how to navigate through this thing called life. We're out. We love you so very much. We are at the top of the week. Take center stage and own it.